Time now for the Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
We've talked a lot this week about this independent journalist, this young man, 23 years old, Nick Shirley. And he has his so-called researcher, David. And I don't know that we even know David's last name. Everything that I've seen is he just refers to him as David. But they returned yesterday to the Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis. Now, you may remember this particular learning center because it's the one that they spelled learning incorrectly. They left the N out. So it's become known as the Quality Learning Center. They returned to the scene of the crime, if you will, dressed in a sweatshirt hoodie type that was emblazoned 1-800-FRAUD. And there you can see them if you're watching us on the Salem News Channel. We have that up for you now. You can see them out front of this daycare center with these sweatshirts on, talking about the additional fraud that they're uncovering. At the site, David also told reporters that he had filed a criminal complaint against Minnesota Governor Tim Walz related to the alleged widespread fraud. And in a post shared on X, Shirley and David are also shown during this visit standing outside the facility, again, in these matching sweatshirts. Some of the people coming around not too happy with them necessarily because they realize their little thing is about to come to an end. Shirley captioned the post, "We out here leering and stopping fraud." Both men's sweatshirts also had the logo on the back of the Quality Learning Center. Misspelling was pronounced there. Shirley's return visit came, of course, after the facilities manager claimed that his original video misrepresented business by filming outside posted hours and falsely suggesting the center was inactive. Now, the video that we saw over the weekend very plainly showed their hours of operation. And according to Mr. Shirley, they were there during regular business hours. So I'm not sure how she thinks that they were misrepresented. State officials now say that a daycare manager denied the allegations of fraud, disputes the claims that the location was closed and that they're improperly collecting these funds. The Quality Learning Center appeared inactive at the time Shirley was there. I mean, nobody would come to the door. The door was locked. The windows were blacked out. Shirley's video, of course, sparked widespread attention online. Don't you know that these daycare operators right now, they don't quite know what to do because they know that their little party's about to come to an end, and they've got to explain it to whoever they're sending the money to. Because we know how these things work. You have some low-level, probably minimum wage worker in these daycare centers. They're keeping the doors open, keeping the money flowing, but they're sending that money back to Somalia to somebody. And that somebody, whoever's receiving the bulk of the money, they're not going to be very happy that their little party has been ended. Governor Walz was already facing criticism as this scandal involved at least $1 billion lost to other social services. And again, all of these, the common denominator here is the Minneapolis' Somali community. Now, some have said, well, that's racist. You're being racist because you're pointing the finger at the Somali community. Not all Somalis are bad. Well, no, they're not. But the reality is just about, in fact, I don't know that a single one of these daycare centers that have been spotlighted, I don't know that a single one of those is owned or operated by anyone other than a Somali. So David, during yesterday's visit, Nick Shirley's assistant, David, confirmed to reporters that he had filed a criminal complaint against Governor Walz related to the alleged fraud. He said, I filed a formal criminal complaint against Governor Walz for violating Minnesota Statute 3.971. David said before confirming that he had filed the complaint 3 to 4 weeks ago. So there's an investigation ongoing, and I think Tim's going to have a bad day, and he deserves it because he allowed this fraud to happen. He went on to say because he wanted the voting bloc that the Somalis represent because they all vote in a bloc, and it's 100,000 to 150,000. So he's basically saying the reason Tim Walz looked the other way was so that he could have the support of the Somali community when they go to the polling booth. Look, this is going to blow up. And I know there's a lot of skepticism right now as to whether or not anyone will be held accountable. Many of you on the text line are saying this. Texter says, Joey, you know as well as I do, nothing is going to be done to these criminals in Minnesota like Timmy Walz, who needs to go to jail. Texter, hey, Joey, Brent from the Twin Cities again. Of course the left has to smear Nick Shirley. They have no explanation for the fraud and are upset they got exposed. Yeah, I mean, the left, CNN's trying to turn this thing around, and they're trying to paint Nick Shirley as the bad guy simply because he exposed this. But I'm going to disagree with the texter. I think that something may be done. I think there's too many eyes on this now. I don't know that they can avoid not holding someone responsible. Is it enough that will satisfy you and me? Probably not. But maybe it's enough to be a bit of a deterrent for this particular scheme. Now, these groups, they'll find another scheme. That's why they don't need to be here. That's why they don't need to be in our country. Go back home. If you want to cheat somebody out of money, go home and cheat your own people out of money. Don't come here and cheat Americans out of their money.
Stay informed anytime, anywhere with the Salem News Channel and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. This has been The Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.